Ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the President of the United States, please welcome Strive Masiyiwa.
Wow. How do you introduce the President of the United States? They said to me I had 3 minutes. I said, in Africa, I can't say my name in 3 minutes.
In the heart of Africa, there is a story of remarkable success. This is the story of Strive Masiyiwa. Strive's journey began in a small village in Zimbabwe, but today he's worth a whopping $3.2 billion, making him Zimbabwe's wealthiest and a global force to reckon with.
Okay, so this man here is called Strive Masiyiwa, and he's a London-based Zimbabwean billionaire. He came to the UK with his family when he was 12, where he attended a private secondary school. He also earned a university degree from the University of Wales. He also worked in the computer industry in Cambridge for a while before returning to Zimbabwe to set up his own telecoms company in 1993. Now, in 1998, after facing a lot of resistance from the government, he launched his mobile network company called Econet Wireless Network in Zimbabwe. Now, he launched this at a time where 70% of Zimbabweans hadn't even heard of a ringtone. Today, Strive is massively successful. He's married with 6 children, and he's actually a board member of Unilever and Netflix. According to Forbes, he has a net worth of $4.4 billion.
His New York penthouse, a stunning 2-unit masterpiece in El Dorado Towers, showcases opulence. But it's the terrace with its city view that's truly captivating. In Zimbabwe, Strive maintains a $610,000 house, 5 bedrooms, a pool, and many more. His London mansion is worth $6 million and features exquisite stonework. Strive's car collection is modest but remarkable. In the UK, a Jaguar F-Type SBR worth $65,000. In South Africa, a Lexus LS 500 worth $62,000. His most luxurious asset is a $35 million Bombardier Challenger 850. It's a flying masterpiece. Beyond wealth, Strive's generosity shines.
From the outset, I've always been interested in philanthropy. Because I believe that business must be a force for positive change in the community in which you work. So I don't really pursue what some people call corporate social responsibility. I've never stopped to think of it in that way. What I pursue is using the resources that are available to me through business to help people in need and to address the urgent social needs of our time.
Strive's generosity shines. He has provided scholarship to 250,000 Africans, supported 40,000 orphans, and championed causes across the continent. Strive's journey embodies determination and impact, a testament to transforming lives.
I was fortunate enough to, as we were finishing university, people like Bill Gates were beginning to work on microcomputers, and we were all, thinking, wow, this is it. To my home country, Zimbabwe, after studying in Britain, hoping to help in the reconstruction of our country. As an engineer, my own particular discipline was telecommunications, which was about to undergo an incredible revolution.
You probably should describe this. What was the state of telecommunications in Zimbabwe at that time?
Well, Zimbabwe was considered, James, believe it or not, to be one of the best in Africa at the time. 0.7% of our population had access to the telephone, and that was twice the continental average at the time, outside of South Africa and North Africa. So basically, there were no telephones. I worked for the telephone company, And the official waiting list was 14 years for a telephone.
To get a line.
To get a line. So it was pretty cool walking down the street as a telephone engineer because everybody wanted to get a telephone line off you.
So what did you do then when you went back home?
When I went back home, I worked for the telephone company. Then the digital revolution began to emerge, particularly around mobile phones. I decided to be an entrepreneur because I noticed that no one was particularly interested in adopting the technology. So I set up my own mobile telephone company and tried to persuade the authorities that this was the future, and they kicked me out, and we ended up in a terrible dispute over it. But look, it shows you what can happen. People feel threatened by new technology.
And today, I'm going to share the 3 most important things that made Strive Masiyiwa billions. But before that, here's your question. If you're a business person, if you own a business, do you own your business or does your business own you? Because here's the thing. Sometimes people are putting themselves in cages and call it a business. Somehow, they've just created a job for themselves. I read this book. It's one of my classical favorite, Imint Revisited by Michael Eagle. Now, in this book, this guy goes on to talk about how people are self-employed, thinking that they own a business. You own a bottle store, you own a spaza shop, a tuck shop, and most of the time, you are locked in that shop. You don't have time to do other things. You don't have time to expand. Basically, this is not a business. This is just a job that you have just created yourself. There's this famous book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think anyone who wants to get in this entrepreneurship work, they get to read that book. Now, Robert Kiyosaki talks about how the rich teaches their children and how the poor teaches their children. A very good book for finance and business and investment. It's a starting point, right? And within the book, it talks about 4 different types of people when it comes to in finance. Employees, self-employed, the business owners, and the investors, right? So the self-employed and the business people are totally 2 different people. They come from 2 different worlds.
People in business. One are E's, employees. S stands for small business, self-employed, or specialist. B stands for big business, and I stands for investor. And the thing of note here is that most people who go to school are programmed for the E and the S side. For example, it was my poor dad who always said to me, son, go to school so you can get a nice, safe, secure job. And so my poor dad wanted me to be an employee. And since the time I was a kid, get a safe, secure job, steady paycheck, and benefits. Okay? I didn't want to be an employee. And I said, Mom and Dad, I want to be a rich man. And I fight with my dad. So my mother finally said, son, if you want to be rich, my mother was a registered nurse. She said, if you want to be rich, the richest people I know are doctors. So my mom wanted me to come over here, be a specialist or a small business person. I said, there's only one problem with that, Mom. Doctors are really smart. And she says, you got a good point there. I'm not going to be a doctor. So I went to school. I have a Bachelor of Science degree. I can drive ships and I can fly planes. I flew for the Marine Corps. But that I've never used any of that education because I wanted to become a business owner. So it was my rich dad who basically said to me, become a business owner and learn to be a professional investor.
The problem about being self-employed is the amount of money you can make is limited towards the amount of hours that you can work. For example, Robert Kiyosaki talks about being a doctor. When you are a doctor, even if you open your own practice, right, an amount of money that you can make is limited towards the number of clients and the number of hours that you can work. There is no scalability, right? So that's not a business. That's just being self-employed. There's a big difference, right? These 4 people are different people and they think differently. They come from 4 different worlds, right? That's why you see we have less entrepreneurs in the world. being an entrepreneur is very, very hard. Everyone thinks now it's cool. Everyone thinks now it's a career trajectory, right? But it takes skill, it takes innovation, it takes creativity for you to get into the entrepreneurship space. But hey, everybody wants to be a billionaire, right? Nowadays, it seems like people just throw up these numbers, millionaire, billionaire, like it's easy.
Let this circle represent $1 million. This is what $10 million would look like. This is what $100 million would look like. And this is what $1 billion would look like.
It's very hard to make $1 billion. So hard, there might be less than 5 billionaires in your country. That is, if you come from a third world country, like me. But the secret of making $1 billion is easy. Yes, easy, not simple. I hope you know the difference, right?
Push P. Meantime, between time. Oh, push P.
Push it up. Masiyiwa built Econet Wireless from scratch to a multi-million-dollar company, and when he shares some of his secrets to success, he revolves around the 3 P's. Yeah, 3 P's. Pushy P's.
Now, what's your explanation for pushing P? What does that mean to Gunna? You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I hear everybody trying to say it now, but they kind of like, you know, don't know what the pushing really P means, man. You know what I mean?
Some do know, some don't. They trying to figure it out. It's simply player, but you also you definitely can use it other ways, because we ain't just saying we player. We pushing P. Like now we saying like we making sure we stay player. Like we making sure we stay P. Like
all the time.
Like all the time. You made sure the hat and the shirt met. Like you pushing P.
Got
for sure. Like you gonna make sure your boots, everything, you pushing P. Like for sure. I know Clue pushing P.
Nah, definitely.
He gonna come to shit Shaw every time. He don't never need no haircut. He pushing P. He P.
Word.
3 things that Masiyiwa preached about that can make you maybe be a contender for being a billionaire. Billions. That's a huge stride. And of course, this is not a marketing masterclass, so let's get into it. The first P is the product. I hope as an entrepreneur, you're not trying to sell spiders and snakes to children. Of course, you will scare them away. However, if you try to sell these snakes and spiders to a game park, trust me, you will have a shock of your life. Not that I'm saying you will make $1 billion from such a scheme.
75% of the people of this country have never heard a telephone ringing. That was the headline of, and that captured headlines across the entire African continent. 75% of our people have never heard a telephone ringing. And people were calling me and said, where did you get this statistic from? And I showed them where we got it. We had to gather this research, which is very important as an entrepreneur. You've got to get your data. So the court pulled down the monopoly. And for me, it was really, we were just trying to respond to a need.
And the next P, you need people. You need the right.
How did you get people to trust you?
I think the key is by not being transactional in relationships. And it goes broader than just your relationship with customers. When you come to grow your company and bringing people on board, the most important thing is to let them do their job. Getting people to accept mobile money rather than mobile phones was the most counterintuitive thing we ever had to do.
because you're talking to people who don't have money, who have very little money. And they also had no bank accounts. So we had to persuade them that they could give us their money. In the case of Zimbabwe, they had faced 500,000% hyperinflation. They knew if you put money in the bank, the next day you didn't have it. And we had to launch mobile money during that time. So I used to say to my people, I said, when we're discussing how do you take mobile money across, how do we get people to accept this? I said, it's like trying to get people to drink. How did they do it at Coca-Cola? A black drink in a bottle? But they did it, right, to build this incredible company, Coca-Cola. I mean, that must have been the most difficult thing to get somebody to, that black stuff you drink. Well, we got people to open bank accounts, millions of them.
But anyway, while we're still pushing people, while we're still on people, remember, for you to make money, for you to make $1 million, $1 billion, you still need customers. You still need to sell yourself out there. You still need to convince people. At the end of the day, it's not about the people in your organization, also the customers that's selling under the people part. You still need to be one of charisma, to be that high selling guy. You still need to attract customers. You still need to have a good brand that attract people towards whatever endeavor that you're participating. So key processes. This is the most important. Remember when I said most business people are creating cages and call it a business. Now, if you have the right processes intact, your business won't be a cage.
I explained to people that you don't over-spiritualize these things. These things are fairly straightforward. How you scale a business, and I've built multi-billion-dollar businesses. It's fairly straightforward. I teach you the 3 Ps. And I say, first you've got to have a product. Okay, what's the product? Okay, and it's got to be a product that somebody is willing to pay for. Okay, you can't run around without with a product that no one's going to pay for. Okay, you've got to have some sort of revenue model around the product. Now, after you have a product, you must have people. Okay, particularly if you are the one who started or invented something. Okay, you've got to have good people. It is the key, so that's the second P, it's the people. And the third P is process. You've got to understand process, okay? Because we scale through process, understanding IT systems, understanding payroll systems, and all those are processes. And the people coming together around a product to scale. Tinotenda, Amansope, thank you. Please join me in welcoming the man of many legacies, the 44th President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama.
Thank you. Everybody, please have a seat. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Strive, for those kind words and your great work to promote opportunity in Africa and across the globe. I should point out, by the way, Strive just told me he was in the middle of a board meeting. He flew here. He's got to go back. He hasn't gotten any sleep. That's how committed he is to the work that we're doing. So give Strive a big round of applause. Huh?